So I'm driving and I'm doing this video here because we're gonna move back into, let me readjust this. Sorry for my hand. Let's see, there we go. Let's see. All right, perfect. All right, let me cover up my name tag because I gotta go to work. But I was on the way to work and I was literally pondering a thought. And I was like, oh, here's a sign of life outside of the videos, but like an actual, like me talking, being a regular human. And I was pondering on the price of peace. And this has been like a thought for like days, like literally. And I was like, you know what? Let's put it on here. So for people who are like, where's the content? Where are these car videos gonna be? They'll be on Patreon. They'll just be posted there. I haven't decided how, but they'll be posted there. You can go watch them there for the other ones because I want to do them again. I felt like it was a important part of, my life, being able to share on the go because I'm always on the go. And then again, it was an important part of like what we did and how those of us who wanted to keep in touch were able to keep in touch with each other. So anyways, Patreon, the link is there. There's also other content over there. But this particular thought came as we've been working through the Jeremiah series. And we're like 8 weeks in, but 5 chapters in. And we've been dealing with some really, really, really in-depth topics. I feel like Jeremiah is a perfect place for a correction of the heart, which I feel like is like the number one diagnosis for humanity, and so that's why we're there. And if you're anything like me, life can take you through some like ups and downs, and it disrupts your peace. It just throws your peace off. If you're not sure, or if you haven't heard the definition for peace, there's videos on it, but the peace I'm talking about is from the Hebrew word shalom. And not just this idea of, oh, kumbaya, peace, I'm settled, I'm balanced, but the type of peace that requires you to either add or remove things in order to get into a place of balance. And the balance is the idea of a just weight and a just balance, a evening out of all things, of emotions, of contribution to relationship, of how we handle the discontentment with the world and everything that we see happening. We're supposed to be in a state of peace and regulation. And so this last week, when we were going through the Jeremiah series, we're in Jeremiah chapter 5, and we hit the very end. And at the end of the book, Yah is talking about, the people through his prophet Jeremiah. And he says, pretty much the people are dysfunctional and they love to have it so. All of the evil, all of the wickedness, and when I say evil, I'm using the Hebraic definition of dysfunction. All dysfunction, all dysregulation is evil in the sight of Yah because it comes from a place that's not of him. And so it is contrary to him. And that's not meaning to say that you are dysfunctional and you are evil. There's way too much of that being thrown around. And I am gonna operate based upon the reality and with the mindset of I'm talking to people who don't want to be dysfunctional, who don't want to be evil, not those who are intentionally practicing and intentionally in the position of repeating behaviors that are dysfunctional and cause dysregulation, like I said, intentionally on purpose, because a lot of times we don't know why we're doing what we're doing. We haven't named it, we haven't given name to it. And so we talked about in Jeremiah 5 how the scripture has a way of reading you, it has a way of telling you about yourself, and it's uncomfortable. But what it is it's teaching you the value of your peace. What is the value of what Yah is doing in your life? If you don't know what, is happening, you may think that Yah taking away or Yah adding things like Torah and regulations to your existence is negative. But the reality is, it's literally giving you the value of life and what is important and what isn't important. And unfortunately, in our Western construct, and then just in the world in general, we're not taught what is and what isn't important, what is and what isn't valuable. I don't know if I did it here or if it was on Patreon or somewhere else, but I started talking about, like, what is the value of money? And essentially, the value of money is only what you put on it. So, or the value of anything essentially is what you put on it, unless those things have been deemed valuable by Yah. And it's very important for us to find those things that are valuable to Yah, because when we find those things, it readjusts our value system and allows us to better focus and to reap better, reap the benefits of life, to live life and that life more abundant. And so peace is something that is very, 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 very valuable. Very valuable. And the price of peace is something that we need to really, really, really understand. Peace is so valuable. The idea of literally to add or to take away in order to receive balance is so valuable that Yah literally did the work of reconciliation so that we could have peace in this life. So to deny ourselves and to reject peace and to not understand the value of peace means to literally reject the gifts that Yah has given us. It's like, I know it seems like really simple, but it is. So when I'm thinking about, like, me, I told you I'm on my way to work, right? I am exchanging something that you can't really put a price on for money, right? Time. Time is, in the whole construct of human existence, one of the most valuable things, and it is a very, very limited resource. And guess what? None of us know how much of it we actually have. So every day we take a gamble by giving up portions of our time in exchange, in this case, for money. But what if you had a bunch of things debiting your time account that you could actually control, even work, which is, a different one because we have to exchange money to live and X, Y, and Z. But one of them is you can choose how much of your time and how much of the currency of your existence is devoted to living outside of peace. See, life without peace is terrible. It takes away joy. It takes away contentment. Without peace, without balance, without being in a place to really recognize and to understand what it is that you're doing in this life, without purpose, then nothing, absolutely nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And so if you're in a position right now where you're exchanging literally your peace, you're exchanging your peace, you are literally debiting the quality of your life account. Literally debiting the quality of your life account. And so a really important thing, and it's something that I've been doing, is, and it's been hard. Goodness gracious, it's been terrible for most days. I have literally been practicing maintaining my peace in order to understand the purpose and to have quality of life and quality of days. It's like super, super, super important. And when I say it hasn't been easy, I mean, it's always difficult adding a new practice into life. But when you're so used to moving in and out of spaces where your peace is either stolen or you're giving it away, it takes practice. It takes practice. But what I had to understand was the value, going back to that, the value of my peace. And my peace has no price. My peace has no price. So I'll tell you some things, I'll put it into this framework, some things that I am willing to give up my peace for momentarily. And I don't mean the idea of to be dysregulated, but for instance, some things that can take your peace. Loss can take your peace. Standing in the gap for a friend who's going through something can definitely impact your peace momentarily. But there should always be a plan to regain your peace. We should never be living through life hoping that peace returns, when peace is something that we must live with. The scripture teaches that we have to live in this world and live amongst the people in this world and live in our homes in peace. And so we spend so much time trying to figure out things that more often than not, we add dysfunction and not peace. Sometimes a lot of information can be weariness. Sometimes changing things too fast disrupts peace. And so anytime we move through life, anytime we move through circumstances, anytime we seek to change, we need to be seeking Yah on, Yah, I am ready and willing to do everything. But during this process, please help me to maintain my peace, because I understand that peace is valuable to you. And the price of peace literally was your own blood. We've been literally put on this planet to be at peace so that people can see the peace and the joy and the love of Yah, and they can be attracted to it. But if we're never at peace and we're never in a place, in a position to apply peace, I'll use this, I like rhyming words, peace to the pressure, right, of like society, then we are salt with no savor and, a light that's not shining in darkness. So my, challenge is today, think about the things that are taking your peace. What's taking your peace? And then see if those things are worth your peace, right? You wouldn't buy something if you knew that it was worth nothing. You wouldn't put value on something that was worth nothing. So if the thing that's taking your peace has no value and has no intention of moving you into a better version of yourself, then you have to not be practicing dysfunction, choose to remove it. That's a applicable way to achieve peace. It's not always adding something, but it's also the removal of the thing that can disrupt your peace as well. And in the process of doing that, there has to be prayer. As you look and evaluate, then you have to ask Yah to train your appetite for peace and train it away from dysfunction. Super, super important, because we are attracted to what we practice. And unfortunately, life has taught us to be in the practice of dysfunction and dysregulation. And so the first time you remove something in order to achieve peace, in order to achieve shalom and balance, it's not going to feel good, and it's going to be very, very difficult to maintain. And of course, without question, the adversary likes a dysfunctional, evil, and dysregulated human, because it's the easiest way to influence and play in your mind and in your life affairs. So we have to seek Yah, because we, unfortunately, because we haven't practiced it, are powerless against our enemy. And so if we want to overcome and we want to move out of the place where our peace is disrupted, we need the Ruach, we need Yah, and we need him to apply value to something that we didn't see as valuable. We say we see peace as valuable, but unfortunately, we haven't been taught how to value our peace. So my goal for you today, and if we can carry it out today and then moving into the next day, is whenever we feel like we're moving into a space of dysregulation or dysfunction, we look at that moment and put a value on it. We put a value on it and we say, is this something that is going to keep me in peace? If it's not going to keep me in peace, yeah, and this is my thing, it doesn't have to necessarily be yours, how you move through, but mine is to, if it's going to take away my peace, then keep me silent. If it's going to steal my peace, then keep me silent, because I don't want to be an accomplice in the robbery of my peace. Because only I, personally, only I can really be the one to give over my peace, to give over my joy, to give over my shalom, to give over my regulation. But I have to know that I am safe when I resist. And so my prayer is that Yah shows you that when you resist, even though we feel like we may have to speak up or stand up or exchange our peace in a moment, that Yah can comfort us and say, no, I got this. I'm going to take care of it. And I'm going to take care of it because you trust me to take care of it. So much of us keeping our peace is trusting that Yah sees, that Yah's going to handle any injustice that we feel like we're experiencing, and that he's going to step in and fix it. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she was saying, like, you have to trust Yah for the thing you're asking for. And you have to trust that it's within his will to keep you at peace, to keep you regulated, to stand in the gap. When you don't speak up, will he then be the one who stands in for you? And that means in everything. A lot of times we go like, oh, at work, this person or the people in the world, but even in your home, even in parenting your children, whatever it is, every person surrounding you has to be in a position to see how Yah is not only protecting you, but placing value on you and helping you to value your peace. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'm going to try to do these more regularly. I don't like to just talk about nothing. So I hope that Yah keeps, giving stuff to talk about. But I really hope that you have an amazing day. With everything out there in the world, that you find your corner of peace, your corner of joy, and that Yah helps to regulate your mind and your heart as you move through this world. It's a very, very important thing to be in a place of balance, because we make better decisions. And we're not only better for other people, but we're better to ourselves. I want you to be good to yourself. I want you to be patient with yourself, and know that if you are still here with breath in your body, that you are still being worked on. You're still valuable, and Yah still loves you. Shalom.